Hello everyone. Welcome to the Lightning Ball channel. If you haven't yet subscribed to my channel, please do so and activate the notification bell. Your support fuels my continued efforts. Before diving into the content of TenSura Vol22, let's first have a recap the current status of the Tenma Great War. In Volume 21, Rimuru woke up at the end of time and space, acquiring the time warp skill and amassing enough imaginary collapse energy to create tens of thousands times of universes. Following Seal's advice, Rimuru used this timeless space to master his abilities further. Together, Rimuru and Seal decided to observe the progression of the Tenma Great War, waiting for the perfect moment to intervene and decisively defeat all their enemies. Meanwhile, in the central world, Luminous, Veldanava, Shion, Hinata, Masayuki, Ultima, and others gathered at the Heaven Tower, preparing to confront the Cryptid army, which was about to cross dimensions from the other world to invade the central world. At the same time, during the Labyrinth defense battle, Zijin managed to slay his father, Zelenus. Then, when faced with the indestructible Vega, Mai Furuki sacrificed herself, jumping into an unknown space while dragging Vega, who intended to self-destruct and annihilate everyone, with her. Following this, Diablo, Dino, Zijin, and Benimaru executed their ultimate quartet skill, Breakdown Nostalgia, obliterating the 30 layers of the labyrinth that Vega had corrupted. In this episode, we'll delve into the prologue of TenSura Volume 22, which offers additional insights into the Cryptids and the enigmatic evil god Ivarage. So, let's get started. Cryptids were a group of entities with vastly diverse characteristics. We've touched on cryptids many times in previous videos, particularly through Abara's perspective. For countless years, Abara led the Phantoms in battling cryptids on the front lines. Earlier descriptions of cryptids painted them as a disorganized species of semi-spiritual lifeforms, inclined to act on whims and indulge in chaotic individual combat. However, this latest information clarifies that among cryptids, there were subgroups with shared traits and systems. These subgroups include highly intelligent cryptids that cooperate, protect their allies, and work together to take down stronger enemies. In fact, this aligns with what was previously revealed about insectids. The insectids were originally derived from the cryptid race. Zelenus, the first cryptid to develop self-awareness, was named by Veldanava, and his emergence marked the birth of the entire insect race. According to Dino's speculation, Kamara was also connected to the cryptids. Therefore, while cryptids are often seen as reckless beings driven purely by an instinct to fight, there are also intelligent individuals and organized groups within their ranks who demonstrate purpose and cohesion. All cryptids, as we know, were born from the overwhelming and malevolent magicule of Ivarage. At this moment, Ivarage, having absorbed the souls of hundreds of thousands of Phantom Army members slain by Michael, let out a sinister, resounding laugh signifying her awakening and evolution. This marked the birth of a new existence. A cocoon radiating 7 colors encased Ivarage, reconstructing her body within. Notably, when Rimuru evolved into a true demon lord, similar 7-colored radiance appeared, vividly depicted in the anime. Ivarage became the second being to exhibit such 7-colored brilliance during evolution. As the evil god, Ivarage was undeniably a spiritual life form. For such entities, appearance, size, and shape could be altered at will. Previously, as an unthinking and shapeless existence, Ivarage's energy grew uncontrollably over time, manifesting as an ominous, malevolent, and terrifying presence. However, following her evolution, Ivarage underwent a drastic transformation. Her size shrank to that of a small human child. The condensed, colossal energy exuded an aura of despairing brilliance. The remnants of the 7-colored cocoon shrouded her body, revealing glimpses of fair and tender skin. Her snow-white hair, as soft and fluffy as a dandelion, seemed to consume the surrounding light. Her cherry-colored lips, while delicate and adorable, twisted into a wicked smile. Golden eyes sparkled with intelligence, reflecting her newfound clarity. With the awakening of emotions such as hatred, Ivarage's sensibility blossomed. As the embodiment of pure malice with clear consciousness, Ivarage began contemplating how to announce her existence to the entire world. At this juncture, fragments of Ivarage's past memories resurfaced. The rapid growth of her intelligence, spurred by her newly acquired emotions, allowed Ivarage to understand that she had been abandoned. Yes, just as Manus Michael felt abandoned and Feldway felt abandoned, Ivarage too now shared that sentiment. The one who had abandoned them all was the same, Veldanava. Ivarage's inner turmoil was steeped in loneliness, resentment, and an unforgivable hatred. She recalled everything. She once had a perfect oneness, a state of complete fulfillment. Even as an entity devoid of intellect, sensibility, or emotions, Ivarage never experienced dissatisfaction, unease, or even boredom during that time. However, when she lost her other half, that dreamlike sense of omnipotence vanished. Reality, with its uncertain future, laid bare everything. Still, as an entity without intellect or emotion, Ivarage initially felt no discontent. But the abrupt void, that unending loneliness, proved impossible to dispel. However, everything was different now. Ivarage had gained self-awareness. With intellect to comprehend her existence and emotions fueling her resolve, she swore vengeance. Her target? None other than the Creator God, Star King Dragon Veldanava. Ivarage's reasoning was simple: if she had lost something, she would take it back. By consuming everything, she believed that the one who had abandoned her would inevitably return. Destroying everything Veldanava had created became both her method and her purpose. Born of hatred, Ivarage began to envy all existence. Without hesitation, she resolved to obliterate the world. As fate would have it, the newly awakened evil god stood before a gate, the entrance to other worlds, the Star Palace. Ivarage felt an unprecedented excitement and joy. On the other side of the gate lay countless unknown worlds, created by Veldanava and continuously expanded. If she crushed and consumed these worlds one by one, Ivarage was certain she would eventually find satisfaction. Envisioning that moment, she couldn't help but burst into laughter. Responding to her joy were the kings commanding the Cryptids' army, 3 rulers who embodied the beasts running through the void, the birds soaring through dimensions, and the fish swimming among the stars. These 3 saw Ivarage as their mother and obeyed her unconditionally. In terms of raw power, the trio rivaled even the past insect lord Zelenus. With Ivarage's evolution and awakening, they too received Ivarage's blessing, amplifying their already immense power into an uncontrollable force. Moreover, their transformation had an unimaginable, unprecedented impact on the entire Cryptids race. Ivarage experienced a new emotion, genuine affection. She fondly praised her subordinates for their charm. Yes, her mood grew brighter with each passing moment, and she sought to convey her elation to her followers through sheer presence. Ivarage decided to bestow beautiful names upon her children. The name Ivarage had been her first gift, though she had never realized it. Now, with her newfound self-awareness, she understood the joy that came with a name. Joy, another emotion she now experienced, radiated from her in an innocent and unguarded manner. Yet, as the embodiment of evil, Ivarage's naming was not a mere act of affection, it carried intense malice. The beast running through the void was given the name Kageashi, inheriting the curse imbued within the name. Similarly, the bird soaring through dimensions received the name Habataki, along with Ivarage's resentment. Finally, the fish swimming among the stars was named Suimu, inheriting the hatred Ivarage harbored. While the names bestowed upon them were deceptively endearing, the malice they carried was undeniable. The 3 servants, already willing to do anything for their mother, had their resolve intensified by the names. They would act without hesitation, even at the cost of their own lives, to fulfill her wishes. Simultaneously with the naming, their evolutions were complete. Kageashi transformed into a creature with the body of a giant lion and the head of a dragon, its entire form covered in dragon scales. Its tail split into 8 serpentine appendages that writhed freely like venomous snakes. Eyes sprouted all over its body, leaving it without a single blind spot. These eyes emitted a viscous dissolving enzyme in the form of a fog. Any creature unfortunate enough to come into contact with Kageashi's miasma, even a demon lord seed, would face certain death. Habataki evolved into a dual-headed, androgynous, mythical bird. Its body resembled an eagle, but it sported an elegant peacock-like tail. The entirety of its form was adorned with feathers made of the ultimate metal, high hierocane, which glowed with a dazzling golden hue. Its appearance, more mechanical than organic, gave it the air of an inorganic construct rather than a living being. Suimu became a grotesque, alien-like fish monster. Its pointed, squid-shaped body lacked a head, while its central, circular torso was covered in numerous writhing tentacles. Each tentacle consisted of a series of finely jointed segments that moved with eerie precision. Moreover, bizarre microorganism-like parasites, covered in alienium, fully enveloped Suimu's body. The three servants shared no physical similarities but were united by their unnerving alien nature. Their forms defied biological norms, making their very existence an aberration. Their subordinates, the cryptids under their command, evolved in similar ways. The higher their rank, the more pronounced their inherited traits became. These cryptids gained ferocious powers far exceeding those of monsters naturally born from magicule. The effects of this evolution and naming spread across the entire cryptids race, tainting them with Ivarage's malice. Numerous high-ranking cryptids emerged, with over 100 surpassing S-class level, and the lower-ranked cryptids multiplying into tens of thousands. Together, they formed the Cryptids army, a legion of malice and destruction centered around Ivarage, a veritable army of doom. Ivarage, exhilarated by the swelling power and pervasive malice of her forces, smiled brightly. Yet, her golden eyes betrayed no trace of warmth. Fixing her gaze on the Star Palace, she began moving silently. Fueled by hatred for the one who had abandoned her, she vowed to reclaim all that she had lost. With this resolve, she descended upon the Star Palace. The gate connecting to the central world, which should have been tightly sealed and accessible to no one without a key, now stood inexplicably open. The gatekeeper, de Gruel, was conspicuously absent, leaving the passage completely unguarded and open for anyone to traverse. Simultaneously, a massive shockwave rippled from the ground up through the Heaven Tower and into the Star Palace. This immense force originated from Milim's Drago Nova, which had devastated the Heaven Tower. The unparalleled power of Milim's attack had left the interior of the Heaven Tower in ruins, with its various levels obliterated and connected. Consequently, the Cryptids' army now faced no obstacles in their path to the Star Palace. The timing, environment, and power aligned perfectly, filling Ivarage with anticipation and confidence that no one could stand in her way. Innocent yet malevolent, Ivarage led her army of the damned with her head held high, traversing the worlds with determination. At the same time, she sensed scattered fragments throughout the central world, traces of individuals connected to Veldanava's past. With a sneer, Ivarage's hatred for those Veldanava had loved grew even stronger. She resolved to devour everything, returning herself to a state of oneness. Alright, that's all for this video. This chapter clearly delved deeper into the connection between Ivarage and Veldanava. It strongly suggests that Ivarage might represent the omnipotence that Veldanava relinquished. Veldanava originally possessed omniscience and omnipotence. Previously, I speculated that after being abandoned, these attributes might have become the voice of the world, but it now appears that omnipotence manifested as Ivarage. How about the omniscience? Maybe omniscience had become the voice of the world then. It's worth noting that Ivarage's three subordinates symbolize void, dimension, and interstellar, which might hint at the powers Ivarage herself possesses. Interestingly, these abilities significantly overlap with those of Rimuru. The portrayal of Ivarage as an unexpectedly adorable child, defaulting to a female form, was surprising. Given her goal to annihilate everything Veldanava created, Ivarage's stance appears fundamentally at odds with Feldway's. This raises the possibility of Feldway's redemption, or even a shift in his motives in my opinion. Another intriguing point is Ivarage's apparent ability to identify people and objects connected to Veldanava. This makes me wonder, how would Rimuru appear in Ivarage's perception? There's so much to discuss and analyze, and I invite everyone to share their thoughts in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, please like, comment, and subscribe. Your support is greatly appreciated. See you in the next one.